Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming back and joining our program. Thanks for listening to our sponsors. They keep our lights on and our mics hot. This is Doc on Doc and Lefty. Lefty is out beating the bushes, trying to find that magical lottery ticket that will allow him to do a meet and greet with Hillary. We have special guest Jake Highfill, state representative of District 39. We're talking to him about all kinds of stuff, political. We just got done talking about education and taxes. The next important thing is I think, infrastructure. We were supposed to have this gas tax, and it was supposed to go to help rebuild bridges and roads. And if you go out to Adel, which is in Dallas County, one of our wealthiest counties, and take a little trip down 169, that's like going to Morocco, all right? Or worse yet, Ukraine, because I've been there, all right? Or South Africa is really bad. But that's what that road's like, all the way from Earlham all the way up to Dallas Center. And that gas tax was supposed to help the infrastructure, but what it seems to have done is create more bike trails, number one. Number two, create more interstate. Number three, create more bridges. And four, create more boondoggling. That's my opinion. Jake, what's your opinion? Has this money gone where they said it was supposed to go?
Well, I originally thought the formula was messed up. One of the reasons, a lot of reasons I voted no, but one of the reasons I did vote no was the formula. The time 20 formula it's called, X percent, I can't remember all the exact numbers for everything, but goes to the new infrastructure and existing infrastructure. I believe it's better spent. Have individual programs. For example, they always talk about the crumbling bridges. Yeah, about one person drives on them a day. So we make sure we take care of those. But we also need to look at maybe some of these bridges we shouldn't have a bridge every corner or whatever. But also we should look at new roads and taking care of the ones we already have first. And yes, I'm from a district that is growing. We need 141 done. We need these roads done. But they also say that changing the formula and taking care of the bridge in a small county that has 1-2 people on a day instead of having 141 that has 55,000 cars a day is a big difference. So that's one of the formulas there. And also some of the beautification stuff, as you talk about, isn't necessary, especially in a time where we're really crunching for roads. And that with the unpredictability of the federal government right now, that's also very important.
Well, and just about, I'm going to tell you, go out to Omaha. On the way out to Omaha, there's a brand new, there's on either side of the interstate are brand new facilities, roadside facilities. You should see the artwork. Who the heck needs artwork at a rest stop on I-80? It's the same going up to Minneapolis. It's the same going over to Chicago. I know a person that works in one of the facilities there. She's making $35,000 a year as a custodian. That's good money for a custodian. But she was telling me each one of those things costs about $2.2 million. You're talking, what, $10, $12 million for a rest stop? Or for a potty on the road? I mean, yeah, I understand that's nice. You don't want to have to stop and do your business in the weeds on the side of the road. You shouldn't do that. But you don't need to spend $2.2 million with fancy artwork and a welcome center and the rest of it. It's ridiculous. I guess we're just going to go to the next one. The criticisms of the Republican Party are many. I say them all the time on here. My big criticism is they've turned into Napoleon the pig. They're eating at the table with the humans when they should be out there going, oh, hold on, we need to retract back and cut our spending. But it seems like our governor and our Republican Party, at least here in Iowa, is spending like crazy and not paying attention to anything. So what if I'm paying an extra $200 less on my business property every year? Right? I mean, that's not even a 1% reduction for the taxes I pay on it. But I'm having to pay all these other more taxes. I mean, everywhere you go, you get tax in Iowa. If you want, and this comes back to not only are physicians the lowest paid in Iowa, we have to pay so much more in tax. We get so little in return. So, Jake, I'm going to put this question to you. What are we going to be able to do with the Republicans in power if they don't stop spending this money? How are we going to stop this?
One of the biggest problems with the continued spending growth is that the Medicaid, as you know, the Medicaid train, the federal government comes down and says you have to pay an additional $200 million or $100 million. And for a state like Iowa, that's a lot of money. That's more than the state grows every year. So it's eating up our budget. And I bet you in the next few years, it'll consume our whole budget. I mean, with that in education, we're going to have a serious problem. I think the best way to jumpstart the economy is to cut income taxes. I haven't been quiet about that. I have a bill to get rid of the income tax, phase it out over the next few years, 2% a year. I think that will have the best opportunity. There's 10 states in the country that are growing the fastest, 65% of the jobs, and 9 of those states have one thing in common: no income tax. It's an easy way to compete. And as you talked about, that we come to the trough as well. The one thing that drives me insane is I'm against welfare at all forms. That includes corporate welfare. It boggles my mind that it's spend all these millions and millions of dollars to bring people in. And I know it's a system that we have right now, and yet in order to get these jobs in the state, we have to do something. But the best way to compete against that is to go out and lower income taxes, lower personal taxes, lower corporate taxes. When you do that, you don't have to go to the trough and say, here's all this money, come to Iowa. Instead, you can say, look at our tax structure, come to Iowa. We have to go sell ourselves nationally and internationally, as you know. So that's one of the things that we talk about a lot, that in order to get off the trough, we have to be able to compete just on paper, and it's hard for us to do right now.
To back up Jake's point, I have a friend of mine who's a physician, was offered a job here with one of the local groups, and and he was excited to come. He's one of my friends, and he asked me, "Geez, would you come to Iowa?" And since I try not to lie too much, particularly, in front of my friends and my mother, I told him, well, no. I said, I wouldn't come to Iowa again. If I had to do this over again, I would probably work. I wouldn't work in South Dakota, but I would definitely work in a place like Florida or Ohio, because that's where he was moving from. So he went to Minnesota, and he goes, geez, I can't believe the income tax is up here. Well, how high are they? Oh, a bunch of liberals are at 6.5%. Well, you're run by a supposed conservative down here in Iowa, and we're at 10.1%. We're challenging California, New York, and Illinois as far as their income tax. He did the math. He would have had to pay an extra $89,000 a year just for the privilege of living in Iowa with our crappy school system. So there you have it. Now, the problem is you get a guy like Jake who stands up to the establishment, who says no to taxes, no to crazy spending. Let's get back and do things sensibly. And the party establishment responds by going, well, we're going to disobey the will of the people and remove him from a committee where he had a very reasonable thing. And that, to me, shows a strength of character that a lot of these politicians simply lack. Now, generally, I try to give our guests the last word, but we are coming up on a commercial break. This next segment, we're going to continue our conversation with Jake Highfill. We're going to continue to ask him some hard questions about his campaign, his style, his fundraising. We're also going to ask about where, if he has any ambitions beyond the representative state and any potential endorsements. I think it'll be an interesting conversation. Please stay tuned. We couldn't do what we do without you. We'll be back right after this break with Jake.